Good morning, y'all, and welcome back. So glad you could be with me today. So today is all about maintenance. We have some maintenance to do on the truck and on me. And the first stop, this truck needs an oil change and a fuel filter. That's right, I'm gonna pay somebody to change my fuel filter. I normally tell y'all, if you can do it yourself, save the money. But we have a time situation that requires me to pay someone to do it because we have something going on potentially tomorrow or the next day where I need this truck to be able to go down the road without needing maintenance. So our first stop today, getting the oil changed and getting the fuel filter done. All right, first stop. I like to support local business. And just like that, 22 minutes later, we have our oil changed and our fuel filter changed. So before we go to the next step, I want to talk to you guys about the price of the fuel filter. Normally, I tell you guys, if you have the skill set to do it and the time, to change your fuel filters yourself on your diesels. And that's because you can buy the filter element yourself at any auto parts store for about $75. Today, it cost me $175. So was the $100 worth it? For me, today it was because of the convenience factor. Because I'm under a time constraint. I need the job done and I need my truck to be ready to go. If you can do it, save yourself the extra $100 and take care of your truck yourself. It's not that big of a job because the man was able to change my oil and my fuel filter in 22 minutes. All right, so the next thing, we need to go get the tires rotated on this truck. And to do that, we're going to Discount Tire. The reason we go to Discount Tire is because we bought our tires from them. And they offer lifetime balancing and rotation. And for a dually, that requires extra steps because they actually have to take all 6 tires off the rims they're on and put them on different rims because the rims are specific to the truck. The front rims can only be the front rims. The rear outers can only be the rear outers and the rear inners can only be the rear inners. That's why they have to take the tires off the rims and move the tires to different rims to make it work. Some places will not do this. That's why we went Discount, because they will do it the correct way for a dually. So on our original set of tires, we did not rotate them one time. They only lasted 44,000 miles. This time, I'm trying to rotate them every oil change, so roughly every 10,000 miles. And this will be the second rotation. Here are the fronts. They have 20,000 miles on them, and you can see there's no weird wear patterns like the original tires had. And the rears look pretty good as well. So, we're gonna keep rotating them, and I'm gonna let you guys know, do the second set of tires that are rotated every oil change last more than 44,000 miles. All right, we're here at Discount Tire. We're about to go inside and get these tires rotated and balanced. Hopefully they go pretty quick, but I doubt they're gonna beat the oil change man at 22 minutes. We'll see. The good news is I brought my computer today. So while I'm waiting, I'll be working on some videos for you guys to watch. So we just got done at Discount Tire and it took a little longer than 22 minutes, about an hour and a half, which isn't bad for rotating 6 tires. And that's why I went with Discount Tire, because they rotated all of my tires the correct way for a dually. And it cost me nothing because I bought my tires through them. So you guys should really consider Discount Tire when it's time to buy your new tires, because they're everywhere and we've had no problem rotating them no matter where we are in our travels. Now I will say, little tip, because it cost us a little extra time, is to make sure they put your rear tires on in a way that you can actually reach the valve stems. So when I first went to get in to leave, I checked my rear tires and the valve stems were hidden behind the front rims. So I actually told them about that and it took them 5 minutes. They went ahead and pulled the front tires back off and rotated them, I think, 1 bolt hole to the right. And then I was able to access the outer and the inner valve stem so I can air them up. Make sure you check before you leave, because if not, you're going to have to fix it whenever you need air, and it's not going to be fun, because if it's in the wrong spot, you literally cannot air up the inner tire because the front rim is in the way. Now, the next thing is for me. I need a haircut. So we're going to take care of this, and I'll see you back in a minute. All right, we got our haircut, and now on to our last stop. This truck needs a bath. All right, we're here at the car wash, and I'm not gonna make you guys watch it because we watched the truck enough on camera. So I'm gonna show you a little trick, a little YouTube trick I learned. Now it's dirty. And just like that, the truck is now clean. So the truck is clean, and everything is a whole lot faster when you use the YouTube magic. That's gonna do it for the maintenance on the truck and me for the day. We have to head by the RV and pick up a few supplies, and Alicia just called me and tells me she wants Mexican food. So she's doing a to-go order for fajitas at the local Mexican restaurant. I'm gonna pick those up on the way home. All right, so tomorrow starts the adventure, which was the reason we'd do all this maintenance. See you guys then. Good morning, and welcome to the start of the adventure. That's right, me and you are going on an adventure today. And I will give you a hint. We're leaving Texas and we're heading east. Just me and you. There's no one else in the truck. There's no Phil. There's no Phil chair. There's nothing behind the truck either. So, you guys are probably wondering, what is this video about? Because you've seen the title and the thumbnail, and you see me do a whole bunch of maintenance to the truck. So before we get any further, and don't cheat and scroll ahead and see what the answer is, I want you guys to take a guess. Based on the thumbnail and the title, and the fact that me and you are going on an adventure, heading east, what do you think we're going to do in this video, and where are we going? Now, I'm going to get me some breakfast, and I get back on the road. I'll talk to you guys in the next state. Welcome to Louisiana, and I will say this whole state has been very generous today. Everybody's waving, having a good time. It probably has a lot to do with the fact that LSU beat Alabama yesterday. It's time to get some diesel and DEF for the truck. Now you can see I don't have a trailer behind me today, but we utilize the TSD Logistics fuel card because it lets us fuel up at truck stops, and also because the savings it provides. The sign right now says $5.29 for a gallon of diesel, and because we're using the TSD Logistics fuel program, we're paying $4.49. What is that? 70 cents off by using the program. It's free for you to sign up. And what it allows you to do is to use the diesel pump with a fleet card instead of having to go inside the building to have your debit card or credit card authorized and then have to go back in to pay when you're done. It lets you fuel up at truck stops. Now, TA is the best savings for them, but you can use it at Love's and Pilot. Since I'm planning my trip, I'm planning my stops around the TA and Petro branded stations because they offer the most savings. You need to get yourself one. If you don't have one, definitely look into it because it will offer you convenience and savings. Now, have you guys figured out what we're doing yet or where we're going? I'm gonna finish filling this truck up. You guys think about it, and I'll talk to you soon. Welcome to Mississippi. You know, when you're driving on Interstate 20, once you leave Louisiana, it actually gets very nice. It's actually a pleasant drive. I just gave you one more hint. We're on Interstate 20, heading east. And I'll give you the next hint. We're not staying long in Mississippi. We're just right through to the next state. So now you know we're at least going to Alabama. We got about 4 more hours to go before we call it quits tonight, if that gives you any idea of where we're heading. Keep thinking about it. Talk to you soon. So we're almost where we're supposed to go, but time change, so it's gonna be dark before I get there, so I figured I'd stop and let you guys know where we're at. We're in Alabama, but we're not where we're going. We're actually gonna go to Uncle Jimmy's house tonight, and we're gonna stay the night there. The reason we're stopping there is because 2 reasons. 1, I've been driving for 12 hours and I'm tired, and 2, today is Sunday, and I can't do what we're supposed to do on this adventure on a Sunday. There's your last hint. I'm gonna go hang out with Uncle Jimmy and Aunt Mona, eat some food and visit for a while, and I will see you guys in the morning. Good morning from Alabama and Uncle Jimmy's house. So some of you guys who have been following this channel, y'all been here before with us. Some of y'all that are new, welcome to Uncle Jimmy's house. I had a great night's sleep, but it's time to get on the road and finish this adventure together. I'm gonna give you guys one last hint. We're leaving Alabama and we're heading east, one more state, to Georgia. So you guys have any idea what we're doing in Georgia or why we're over here to begin with? Think about it while I drive over there. That was your last clue. Guys, we're almost there, and one last hint. We need diesel in the truck. So we're here at the Petro getting some diesel because in a minute it's going to be much harder and less convenient to put diesel in this truck. That's your last hint. Think about it. What are we about to do? You'll see soon. We're here. Are you ready to see why we drove all the way to Georgia and what we're getting here today? You ready? Here it is. It's this RV right here. This is why we came all the way to Georgia. Now real quick before we go any further, how many of you guys thought we were selling our RV and getting a new one today? I hate to disappoint you, but we love our RV and it's not for sale, at least not yet. But this one is. This RV right here is for sale. You're probably wondering, why'd you drive all the way to Georgia to pick up an RV that's for sale? Well, that's a good question. This is my dad's RV, and for the last 2 years, he's been using it as his home away from home for work. He works in Texas and his job is 100% from home. But his company had a policy where he had to be over here in Georgia 1 week out of the month. So instead of renting a house or an apartment, he decided to buy an RV and bring it over here and use it as his home base when he has to come over here. I actually am the one that picked this RV up for him 2 years ago, the end of 2020, and I took it home, did some repairs to it, and outfitted it with everything he might need to live in it full time. Look at this. He even has the original set of jack pads I made. These are actually the ones I made for my RV, but his RV needed to move before we moved our first time, so I gave him mine and built a second set for myself. His company has changed their ways, and he no longer needs to be over here 1 week out of the month. So we're gonna take this RV back to Texas, and it is for sale. So before we get started getting this thing ready to go on the road, y'all wanna see a quick tour of it? So it's a Forest River Sierra, not sure of the model number, but we'll know that by the time we get home. And it has an awesome front storage. It actually has a hydraulic slide for the main slide, and the back side is a Swintech. That's right, this thing has a slide on the back. It's got plenty of basement storage, including all your winterizing and flushing connections, as well as an onboard pump. It's got the main slide for the living room. It's got this rear slide that comes out of the back, which I'd never seen before this camper, but it's pretty cool because it makes that whole room back here very big. And you walk around to the front. It's got a Carefree Colorado awning that's electric. And this is the front side. There's our front basement storage. You can tell he's been storing lots of things. He said he packed it up for me so I could take it home. I'm gonna have to rearrange that for the ride home. You wanna see the inside real quick? So, you walk in, and this is the main living room and kitchen. Then you walk back here into this back room, and this is the back room with the slide. So whenever the slide's in, the slide's actually up here against the door. You can see it makes it into a huge room when the slide's out. Here is the kitchen again. I believe he replaced the refrigerator with an electric one because the propane one decided to stop working. Here's the TV, that's new. You walk up the stairs, and this is gonna be the bathroom. You have this shower right here. And behind me, you have the bathroom. And then right here in the front is a north-south bed, and there's no slide in here. So anyway, that's the quick tour. I'm sure he's not gonna be happy that I showed you this with it in this condition, but in his defense, he did start packing things up to get it road ready, and I actually just pushed the slides out, and all this stuff was packed to go down the road. Because I'm about to pull it, I wanted to expand all the slides and do a one over everything. Now, if you guys are interested in this RV, by the time you see this video, should be the end of Thanksgiving week, maybe the week after. It will actually be for sale about that time. So this is almost real time. By the time you see this, it is for sale. If you're interested, hit us up on one of our social media links, Facebook, Instagram, or you can send us an email at pavingnewpathsrv@gmail.com. It was really funny when we talked about selling this. I said we should give it away, and my dad did not think that was very funny. He said he would give it away though. For a right amount of money, he will give it to you. So now that you've seen the inside, we have to make this thing ready to go down the road. And the first thing we're gonna do is some maintenance, because we have full hookups here, and where it's gonna be stored back in Texas, we don't have any hookups. So before we hit the road, we wanna take care of some things that we won't be able to do when we get home. And the first thing is we need to dump and flush the tanks thoroughly. Because it is for sale, we want the new owner to have a clean black and gray tanks. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna do a thorough dumping and flushing of the tanks, and then we're gonna treat them. And we like to treat our tanks with the BioGeo method. And that means for the black tank, it's gonna be Dawn, Borax, and Happy Camper. And for the gray tank, it's gonna be Zep Citrus Degreaser, Borax, and Happy Camper. And we're gonna fill our tanks to about 1/3 to a half full. That way, On our whole drive back to Texas, the tanks are sloshing around and doing some extra cleaning. I just told you where we're going, we're not gonna have full hookups. So how are we gonna get rid of all that water that's in the tanks when we get there? Well, that's easy. I'll show you. Before we get home, we're gonna stop at a Love's truck stop and utilize their RV dump stations, and I'll show you guys how that works. But right now, I'm gonna get started on dumping and flushing the tanks. Look what I found. It's Phil's chair. I know I couldn't have Phil here, but I at least brought his chair to help me do all this work. Let's see if Phil will show up again. Phil. Oh, not this time. That's because Phil is sitting in a deer stand right now trying to feed us. So I hope you're doing good, Phil, because I really could use the help, because I got no one to talk to and your chair will not say anything to me. He has no suggestions or advice on how to do this. So we're almost done dumping and flushing, and I found all of his maintenance boxes. So he actually has all the stuff you need to take care of this RV, including water filters, water filter wrenches, all the lubrications, all the stuff to do the biogeo method. He actually had the Zep, the Borax, and the Dawn. He also has this box right here full of all your sewer accessories. If you're interested, this camper's coming with all this stuff, including the spare water hoses, electrical cords, some spare stabilizers. He's got a lot of spare items, and they're all going with the camper. So we just got done dumping and flushing the tanks, and they are full and treated and ready for the ride home. That means we no longer need the sewer tube or the water hose. So we're gonna get those things picked up right now. We're gonna do a one-over inside the RV and go ahead and get these slides brought in. And then we'll talk about the next step, which is getting it ready to go on the road. It's gonna involve doing some adjustments to the fifth wheel hitch in my truck, because right now it's on the lowest setting because we had the Gen Y. And for his, because he has a standard pin box and there's not a lot of drop, we have to raise it up to the highest setting to make sure I have a level trailer and enough bed clearance on my truck. We have the fifth wheel hitch adjusted to the highest setting so that we have enough bed rail clearance for that standard pin box. We also got the water and the sewer stuff picked up and ready to go. Now we're gonna go inside and do a one-over on the inside and go ahead and get these slides brought in. Y'all wanna see what it looks like with the slides in? Here is the rear room with the slide brought all the way in. You can see it comes all the way to the door. It's actually a giant slide. And here it is with the living room slide brought in. We have all the slides brought in. And now we need to address the most important stuff before hitting the road. This camper has been parked over here for 2 years. Now these tires were brand new when we brought it over here, but they haven't been on the road very much. We're gonna do a thorough inspection of the tires. We're gonna verify the torque on the lug nuts. We're gonna verify the pressure in the tires. And we're also gonna pop the caps off and we're gonna grease the hubs. We're gonna do a one-over on the suspension and everything out here. All right, so we verified the torque on all the lug nuts and they were actually a little low. We also greased the hubs and the suspension, and all the tires were low, so we aired them up to 80 psi, and we used the onboard compressor on my truck to do that. The only thing left to do is to hook it up. We're going to do a pull test, verify the brakes are working, verify all the lights are working, and then it's time to hit the road. So we got everything hooked up. We have done a pull test and the brakes do work. Now we're verifying that the lights work. There we go. That turn signal's working. We already checked that one. We checked the brake lights. Now we just gotta get out of this site. So we got out of the site with no problems. Time for the long journey back home. What part of it? We're heading back to Uncle Jimmy's house tonight, but look at it. Here it is. She's coming back to Texas. If you want that, all you gotta do is hit us up on social media or at pavingnewpathsrv@gmail.com. It will be for sale. By the time you see this, it will be available. So we made it back to Uncle Jimmy's, and today took a lot longer than I thought. But I think it's important to take the extra time to do the extra maintenance and inspections before hitting the road for a long road trip, especially if the RV has not moved in a while. We're gonna call it early night tonight, and I will see you guys very, very early in the morning because we have a long drive back to Texas. Good morning to you guys. It's very early in the morning right now. It's actually 4:30 and we're already on the road. We're stopping here at the truck stop to top off of fuel, and I need some coffee and some breakfast tacos. But the reason we're up so early is because time just changed and it gets dark at 5 o'clock. And when we get home tonight, I don't want to be parking this RV in the dark. So we're gonna get on the road and I'll come talk to you guys when I wake up and the sun finally comes up. So we made it to Mississippi and we're doing a quick walk around here at this rest stop. Now I'm just walking by each one of the tires and I'm using the back of my hand to see if anything is excessively hot. Because this RV hasn't traveled in a while, I'm pulling over more than I would if it was ours, and I'm checking everything. I'm also going to do a one-over inside to make sure nothing has moved on our adventure. So we just did our walk around, everything seems good. I also talked to my dad this morning. Yesterday when I picked it up, I didn't know what model that was. It's a 2011 Forest River Sierra 28BH. We're in Mississippi, and I'm gonna try to make it to Louisiana before I stop again. It says we're gonna be home around 3:30. We still have 434 miles. So it's still a long drive. We made it to Louisiana and the truck is thirsty. So we're doing a little pit stop here at the truck stop. So I've been keeping track of my gas mileage. On the way over there with no trailer, we got 18 miles a gallon. Coming home, I'm getting 12. And I was like, well, that seems a little high. This can't be right. Well, I went and just checked the weight of the trailer. This trailer only weighs 8,000 pounds. So that explains why it feels like there's not an RV back there, because I'm used to pulling ours, which weighs 20,000. I actually had to let all the air out of the airbags to get the trailer to sit level, because there's not even enough pin weight to squat the truck. We have about 350 miles more to go and we'll be home. Our next stop could be the Love's Travel Stop, where I show you guys how to dump your RV tanks at a truck stop. We didn't make it to the Love's yet. We're actually at a familiar place. You guys may have seen this rest area before, and that's because we've stayed here several times on our travels when we were heading home from Georgia and from Uncle Jimmy's house. So twice we've actually slept in this rest area with our RV. But I stopped here because I'm just outside Shreveport, Louisiana. And for anybody who's ever traveled down Interstate 20 through Shreveport, if you care about your RV or your truck, you will not stay on Interstate 20. You will take the bypass around. I checked the inside and I moved some things around because this part of the road right here is rough on your vehicle and your RV. So our next stop is gonna be the Love's, and I'm gonna show you how to dump your RV tanks at a truck stop. So I'm at the Love's truck stop and I'm here at the RV dump station. So I have my trailer set up right in front of the dump valve, and as you can see, it's $10 to dump. So I'm gonna head inside and pay them the $10, and they'll come out here and they'll take this lock off so I can dump my black and gray tanks. Now, if you're interested in figuring out where you can do this, they have an app and their website tells you which ones offer the RV dump. We have everything set up and we are now dumping our black and gray tanks. And what's cool about this is the tanks are about half full with our treatment in there, and they've been cleaning for about 600 miles now. And since we're going somewhere where we can't dump, we're gonna dump them here. And the same thing goes for you guys. So say you're not a full-timer, say you're a weekend warrior, or you're a part-timer, and you're getting ready to go home, and you're not going to somewhere you can hook up, or you're going to storage, you can still treat your tanks and let them clean while you're driving home. And then right before you get home, you can stop and dump them somewhere. That way your tanks are fully maintained before you put it in storage. Now, Love's only works if you're on the interstate. Since we always travel by interstate, this makes sense for us. But there's other options as far as free dump stations. So you can take care of your stuff on the way home, even if you don't have full hookups when you get where you're going. So we just finished dumping, and I will tell you, I was very surprised at what came out. When we picked the RV up, I flushed it several times, so much so that every flush, it was completely clear water. And then we had our treatment and about half a tank of water for the drive home. And after 600 miles, you would think we didn't flush it at all. The stuff that just came out of those tanks was amazing. So the road flush does work. So now we have about 100 miles left till we get home, but we're getting off the interstate. So now it's gonna be back roads all the way in. We might have one more stop to top off fuel. I don't think I have enough to get home. We're almost home. We had to stop and get some diesel because we wouldn't have made it. But I was just checking my savings from using the TSD Logistics fuel card, and this trip was 1,500 miles round trip, and I saved over $150. So do yourself a favor and go get the card, the TSD Logistics fuel card. It's for RVers. It'll save you money and it costs you nothing. You need to utilize the savings. We made it and we're back to Texas. It only took us 13 hours. I'm glad you guys can hang out with me. I hope you learned some things. I love you, and I'll see you next time.